Hello and welcome to Serving the Valley. I'm Roy Justice. I'm working on what kind of a question to begin today's program with. And I came up with, I'm sorry, but wasn't anything novel. We're cultivating the future, or are we? Are we really cultivating the future? I don't know where that question came from, but I woke up with it this morning after visiting with some farmers yesterday, because they're cultivating the future all the time. Take any farmer, Black Hawk County or our surrounding counties, and ask them to point to the future, and they'll take out and show you their 60, 160, 1,060 acres, and say, in our little part of the world, this is what I'm doing to cultivate my future and the future for my family. So that's what work they're involved in. And why should you care? Well, we all like to eat. I'm curious about another kind of future, your future, my future, right here in the Cedar Valley. So my question is, what are we doing to cultivate that future? If I couldn't find somebody to ask the question to, our program would end right now. But it won't, because I was successful in locating some people, and I'd like to introduce them to you right now. Steve Dust is going to help us out. Hi, Steve.
Good morning.
Steve's president and CEO of the Greater Cedar Valley Alliance and Chamber. A companion of his is Jim Schaefer, Director of Investor Relations. Used to call that membership. We've improved, I think. And Wes James is here as well from TechWorks, Vice President of Operations at TechWorks. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for the
Steve,
invitation.
I'm going to start with that terrible introduction, but I'm going to direct the cultivation process to you. As you were looking at all that is taking place here in the Cedar Valley, in general terms, how do the crops look?
The crops are looking pretty good. We are a strong economy. We have several indications of that. We see the kind of job opportunities that there are in the valley right now. Many employers, manufacturers, software people, services, retail are all looking for more employees. So that's always a good sign. Each of those sectors seem to be pretty strong. We all have cycles in businesses, but right now our economy across the economic area that we consider the broader Cedar Valley seems to be very strong from the indicators.
Okay, we're going to come back to other points in that regard. In today's term, as I mentioned in the introduction, members are members of organizations. Accurately describing them, however, is a new term, I think fairly new into the marketplace, investors. That is how people are being invested or are investing in the activities. As far as community development is concerned, economic development is concerned, and chamber-wise. Jim, let's talk about that. And the term investors, is that fairly new?
It is fairly new, and honestly, I'm fairly new to the chamber world as well, just starting in April. But I'm from the Cedar Valley, so very familiar with this area. We use the term investor because we truly believe that those businesses are investing in themselves and investing within the community to give us the tools that we need to do to go out there and promote those businesses and the community on a regional basis. So we like investor rather than member.
Okay, I'm going to, I probably should have done this at the beginning, and my apologies to the staff back there pushing all the buttons. Your staff was kind enough to forward to us a multitude of photos and videos that help tell the story of what's going on in the Cedar Valley, and we will occasionally be flashing those to the attention of the viewers, and if we spot them, we may try to identify exactly what's going on there. Also, Jim, chamber-wise, there are lots of events on the calendar. There's hardly a day that goes by when something isn't happening, which is a good thing.
Right.
A lot of events. I'm going to list down a couple of them and explain to me, or tweet to me if you will, keeping in mind we have a time period here to abide by. Good morning, Cedar Valley.
Good Morning Cedar Valley is a great program. We do it on a quarterly basis, and it's really the only time where we pull all the community together. Typically we have anywhere from 160 to 180 of our investors attend these events, and we have a representative from the mayor's office, Cedar Falls. Mayor attends, Mayor Hart attends, and then we have a representative from the Black Hawk County supervisors. They give us an update on what's happening in their cities in the county and stuff, and basically just give an update. Really, the only place you can get an event like that taken care of.
Okay. Good morning, Cedar Valley. Okay, Strictly Business Expo.
Strictly Business Expo is basically a business-to-business. Investors get a 10-by-10 booth. We hold it at the Convention Center in Waterloo, and it's just an opportunity for other businesses to walk around and get an idea of what is available out there, and another opportunity for them to network.
Okay, and those networking nights kind of ties right into that
Correct,
as well.
right.
Okay, the Business After Hours events.
Steve, maybe you can hit on
Business
that.
after hours is a relaxed environment for people to show up after hours, after the workday is done, to network, just to meet new people,
Okay.
to find new business opportunities, new vendors. We want people to do business with each other, and that's one of the ways that we have for them to connect, is that informal business after hours opportunity.
Okay, a third member of the panel, Wes, is here from TechWorks campus. First of all, where's TechWorks campus?
TechWorks campus is on the site of the old John Deere Westfield Manufacturing, traditional John Deere in Waterloo, Iowa, known throughout the state.
Well, the good news about TechWorks is there are people there.
We're excited to have more and more cars in our parking lot all the time. We're somewhere north of 50 or 60 cars on a daily basis right now. We've got multiple new tenants in the building. We've got natural soy products using some of the soy research labs, manufacturing soy products. We've got the Cedar Valley Alliance in a brand new 6,000 square foot office facility on second floor. I invite you to come for a tour anytime. It's one of the coolest new things in our building. And of course, our anchor tenant, University of Northern Iowa's Metal Casting Center. They were some of the first people to believe and invest in our campus and have a really great presence there. They're actually expanding with additional footprint and adding somewhere north of $1 million worth of brand new 3D printing equipment and mold milling machines yet this year.
Excellent. Now there's one, and then there's two.
We have two. One wasn't enough. We wanted more. So we came back for a second helping
Oh,
with
darn.
Tech 2. The Tech 2 building was, again, traditional John Deere manufacturing space, and it's going to have a new look in the next 6 months. We've been working, as the public can see as they drive by on the highway. What's gone from a building with lots of potential is starting to realize that, as Marriott Courtyard is putting together a 160-plus room hotel. Brand new facility. It'll be top of the line, and that project is slated to open up its doors late this year.
As I mentioned in the introduction, businesses, existing businesses, particularly here in the Cedar Valley, always looking for an opportunity to improve what's happening workforce-wise.
Right.
What's happening as far as what you folks are doing to help them?
You know, Roy, that's one of the largest changes in economic development over the last decade, is the extreme focus on talent. It's all about demographics. It's about baby boomers getting older. It's about Xers coming up and the millennials becoming a force in the workforce. But what that's doing is causing economic development organizations like ours to pay a lot of attention to what is becoming a more scarce commodity in our communities across the country, and that's people. So from our point of view, what we're doing is really runs the spectrum. We begin with important employability skills training and things like Leader in Me. And we'll talk about that, I'm sure, in a minute. But that's pre-K through 12. Then we're also working with the university in terms of how teachers take the Leader in Me concept to the classrooms when they graduate. Then that's the part of build, as you say, cultivating for the future. We've also got people who need work today and who need employees today. So we're doing more and more to market to the college kids, students that we have in the communities today, community college, university, Wartburg, everyone. We want them to know about the opportunities that are here, that exist here, so that they don't have to leave the Cedar Valley after graduation, but they can begin their career and fulfill their career here. Furthermore, we're beginning to promote the Cedar Valley outside to people who used to live here, who maybe went to school here, who are relatives of people who live here. And need career growth. And this is the perfect place to do that. So we tell them more about, in programs like what we call Live the Valley and Work the Valley, why they should move back and what they can find when they get back to the Cedar Valley.
The 5-year campaign
Yes.
just recently ended. Give me, again, another tweet about keeping in mind the time schedule.
Right.
The results?
The results there, we've not focused on the number of jobs that are created because of the things we just talked
Okay.
about in terms of the talent crunch. So
Yes.
we talk about quality of jobs.
Okay.
And the surrogate for quality of jobs is rate per hour. So the average rate per hour that we were shooting for was $19, and what we exceeded that. We went over $20 per hour for the jobs created during the campaign.
Okay.
We created over the businesses that expanded and located here, invested over $250 million, over $260 million in capital investment. So what that does is produce more disposable income that delivers more money inside retailers and service providers' doors. It provides more customers, more revenue for suppliers of manufacturers. And it supplies tax base for our governments to supply our services to us. So we see our campaign as being very successful.
I'm going to move to the 2021 campaign, which is the next step. But before I go there, not to surprise anyone, but I was surprised. Now, I'm in my 70s. And by the way, after 50 years absent from the Cedar Valley, I returned. Now, in retirement,
Thank
but I
you.
returned. And let me tell you the reason why. It wasn't, in my case, the job. And now I'm hearing young people who are job hunting are not necessarily making the job number one.
That's right.
It's the quality of life.
That's right.
So, Jim and Wes, I'm going to pick on you for a minute. Either what returned you or what keeps you in the Cedar Valley. If it wasn't the job, what is it about it?
Being born and raised in Waterloo and spending a couple years in Florida and having 2 children down there. Back in the Cedar Valley is where my wife and I wanted to raise our children. So we made the decision back in 2000 to move back here, and luckily it's been a great community. We've got beautiful schools. The city's made a big commitment in both Waterloo and Cedar Falls, and it's just a comfortable place to live. It's pretty exciting just seeing what's happened over the last 17, 18 years of what Waterloo and Cedar Falls has become. So for me, it's a very exciting time to be here.
And Wes?
For me, Roy, it's an interesting mix between the academia, the University of Northern Iowa, the agricultural heritage tied in with a company like John Deere, and just the general community's interest in putting those together and taking old resources like the buildings and the old manufacturing facility and making something new, renovating that's relevant in the next 100 years as much so as it has been in the last. So it's exciting to be involved in something like that.
You mentioned, you can't go do a program around here without mentioning John Deere, but when I was at UNI, and it wasn't UNI when I was there, but I was punching in at the main gate, second shift, because taking classes during the day, John Deere helped us get through, and the benefits were good too, come to think of it. Let's talk about that 2021 campaign, because you can't rest on your laurels,
Right.
have to move ahead. So what is that campaign all about?
You want to take that?
2021 is just going to build on the momentum that we've had from the last campaign, the 5-year campaign. And as Steve had said, we're still focused on the talent. Listening to our investors through the years, that has been the main issue and one that we see as very important. So a large portion of those, the fundraising that we're in the process of doing will go toward the talent and also the technology then. Of what's going needed to be done in the industrial world these days is changing a little bit. So a lot more geared toward the technology, and then transformation, continuing what we've been doing, transforming the Cedar Valley, not just necessarily Waterloo and Cedar Falls, but bringing in the regional players from Waverly, Independence, Traer, those folks, and that's really the direction we're going with the 2021 campaign.
Well, in the workforce itself and at the age of the workers, I can still remember all the beta testing that was going on that I was resisting. Who's taking away my manual typewriter? What is going on in this world? And then I had kids in school who were coming home with, boy, you ought to see where the new equipment they're moving into, and that was high school. And then we got down, and now we're in the grade schools with the technology. If you want to know why your stuff doesn't work, give it to a second or third grader, and they could probably straighten it out for you. Keeping ahead of all of that, keeping apprised of what the latest technology is, you better, because you lose them if you don't. Right. If you don't have it here, they'll go someplace else.
That's exactly right. And I'll kind of follow up on that and say a fundamental to that, for us to be successful now and in the future, is broadband and the ability to continue to expand that broadband capability. There's no place better to point at than Cedar Falls and the amazing capabilities here with CFU, and we have many other providers in the Cedar Valley that help as well. But that's one of our strengths, is that anyone who wants to do anything with broadband capacity can come to the Cedar Valley and be successful doing that. And you'll hear a lot more about that with testimonials in the future. And we also have to say, going back to our friends at Deere again, the remark I make, Roy, is I get up every morning and thank God for John Deere, because we could have had another firm that had as much impact on our community but not been nearly as advanced in their technology adoption as John Deere has been. Because of their continued commitment, they've invested $1 billion here in the last decade and a half, and they're going to probably invest that much more in technology and equipment and buildings and people in the next decade. So what that does is bring new skills to people that allow them to expand their careers. It's higher technology, so rather than the blue collar, it's gold collar, as they say. Mm-hmm. And so our economy becomes stronger as they, and many, many others, adopt the technologies that are necessary to be globally competitive in the Cedar Valley, from the Cedar Valley.
Let's talk a little bit about some of these individual programs that have been mentioned already. The Leader in Me in the schools. Mm-hmm. Explain how that works.
Oh, the Leader in Me is a terrific program that has been put together. It is staffed by two terrific educators, Melissa Reed and Terry Trask, who go into the schools when the schools are ready, when they're invited into a school, to help establish a program called the Leader in Me. And the Leader in Me, in simplest terms, helps every student become a leader. It changes the culture inside the school because of the way that people relate to each other and what they expect of each other, in ways that build the personal capabilities of that student. So when the student leaves school, they not only have the reading, writing, and arithmetic that we expect them to have, mm-hmm. but they also have the personal capabilities. And here is a list of the people who are, some of the important data associated with Leader in Me and how it's being utilized in the schools. Regional approach. We're the only place in the world, Roy, that is implementing the Leader in Me region-wide to the extent that we are. Our folks are some of the only people in the world who have been allowed to have the level of training in the Leader in Me and bring it out to coach principals, mm-hmm. teachers, and implement in schools. So it's not only an impressive program initiative, but the results. If you ever get a chance to interview some of the 8th graders coming out of a Leader in Me school, headed to high school, and they have an exit interview with people from the community, take that opportunity. It's an amazing testimony to what those kids are going to bring to their community and their workplace when they have completed their first round of education.
Keeping that same general theme in mind, the Leadership Institute.
Yes.
Moving to a different level.
Cedar Valley Leadership. That's one that Carrie Dara operates for us. Does a terrific job, and it continues to grow every year. We kind of like to keep it at a small group. There's last year's class picture, I think. We like to keep it at a smaller size group, but there is so much demand for the kind of community and business information and personal skills building that goes along with the Institute that it's hard to cap it. So I think this year there are going to be 36 or 37 people from around the Cedar Valley who are going to go through that very well cultured, if you will, program that Carrie has devised.
And where is that done?
That's done all over the community.
Okay.
That's done in churches and synagogues. That's done in government buildings. That's done in business places of business. We get the students, the participants out into the community. They have projects they have to complete that betters their community.
Okay.
So it's a very comprehensive program and one that people seem to really, really enjoy. And our best salespeople for the Institute are the people who just completed it.
Excellent. We are coming out of the summer series. Lots of interns were learning. Talk
Yes.
about that particular program.
Businesses have begun to really understand how important it is to recruit interns so that capable students are learning about what their businesses offer, and every intern becomes a potential employee for the future. They also become a potential resident of the Cedar Valley. So we work with our employers to make sure we identify who those interns are, and then kind of introduce them to the Cedar Valley during the summertime through a series of entertainment events and introductory events, so they know more about what's there besides just the business they're working for. They know what it's like to live here. They know what it's like to have fun here. They know that there's going to be a population of people just like them who are living here and starting their career.
Jim and Wes, I want to tap into, if you don't mind, what excites you when you get up and go to work in the morning about what it is that you're doing in your everyday life.
I just think there's a very positive theme that's going on within the community. This businesses are very excited. I think both communities are doing a great job on their government levels and just portraying a positive message. And that's what excites me, is going out there and in my role is just talking with our investors, our current investors, making sure that things are going in the right direction, and if there is some help that they need, that they can turn to us, and then we can turn to people within our office or elsewhere to help them with whatever needs that they have. So far, so good.
Excellent. Wes?
Where I kind of follow on Jim's comments, it's seeing that positive momentum come together, and specifically in our area around TechWorks. I like to see the building, the construction. There's so much. The last 5 years, really, we've just been building a snowball of positive things happening. And the last 2 years, it slowly gets better and better. And I'll take baby steps any day as long as they're in the right direction. And I think we're seeing that at TechWorks. So to see so many moving parts come together for such a wonderful outcome. And then the crown jewel of that is when I walk in the building and I'm able to see a brand new office or something that's just recently completed. The craftsmen's there, they're smiling and they're happy, proud of their work, and it's something we get to be proud of at the same time. So that's something I think the whole Cedar Valley can be proud of.
We're talking in detail, of course, about the Cedar Valley, but a lot of this coordination also depends on what is happening elsewhere with policies, rules, regulations, and so forth. Staying in touch with not only what's happening at City Hall, but what's happening in Des Moines, what's happening in Washington, D.C. How do you stay in touch with all of that?
We have a group that's called our Government Relations Committee that's made up of businesses and institutions from across the Cedar Valley that put together an annual agenda, a policy agenda. And those are the things that we're going to focus on, particularly at the state level. It's more predictable for us. We understand what they're going to be looking at in terms of policy over the next year, and what needs to be done for the Cedar Valley is something that we can add as well. So a guy named Steve Furman is our Director of Government Relations, and he works for us daily in Des Moines and topically. So if we have something that needs to be done for us, he's one of several that we engage with at Des Moines. Then we're part of a coalition that gets together, and it also is business and institutions and local governments that go to DC and tell our story to our delegation. They're our best salespeople when we get, and so we make sure that they have the information they need to point us in the right direction for federal funding when appropriate, and also to help lead the charge to relieve us of regulation when it's impairing our economic growth or a business's growth.
What can someone who's watching this right now do to assist you? If they don't have a business, they don't run a business, maybe even in retirement. Gosh, who could I be thinking? What could they do to assist what's going on with you?
Well, I'll start and I'll say they can begin by doing what comes natural, talking about the Cedar Valley, saying the good things, what we've got going on here, why somebody should want to live here, keeping up with all of the amazing things that are happening in their own downtown and other communities, and then telling their relatives about it, frankly, telling their relatives, telling other people who are here, putting a great face on the Cedar Valley. That's one of the things. Volunteer with us, volunteer with anyone, but we've got such an active civic community, and that is the kind of thing that businesses look at when they're trying to decide where to invest their dollars. And when people come to our community, they're looking for that active civic life that they can relate to. And so that's the kind of thing that everybody can do, regardless of what your personal interests are.
Okay, Jim?
I would say for the community to support the local businesses as much as they can. And they can go to our website, cedarvalleyalliance.com. We have a directory on our web of each one of our investors, and there they can find out whatever questions that they need. There's YouTube videos, but we would just ask the community to support the community as best they can.
And Wes?
I think the best way to get in contact with the good things we've got at TechWorks is to actually come see what's happening in the area and visit the building and visit some of our tenants. And if there's a way you can interact, engage with our tenants, contact University of Northern Iowa, contact Soy Products, contact the Cedar Valley Alliance.
Excellent. Gentlemen, you knew before we started the program that I had a list on my agenda. Maybe there was something in your mind that, boy, I hope Roy asks me about this, and he didn't. What would that be, Steve?
Well, I just want to put another plug in for what a great place the Cedar Valley is for talented people to locate and to build their career. That's what a lot of our work is going towards, and we need everybody's help to do that. The other thing I would say is on Wes's site in TechWorks campus, even though it's located in Waterloo, it's a statewide asset. We're building that as something to build statewide capabilities for manufacturing and to serve our local commercial operations as well.
Okay, a PS?
As an investor, I would just utilize the Alliance and Chamber as much as you can. Previously, I was a member of the Alliance, but really had no idea of all of the work that we have going on. And I would just use us as a resource as much as possible. That's what we're here for.
Okay. Personally speaking, do you welcome guests into your building?
As a general rule, we're thrilled to have people in our building. Roy, that's the best publicity, the best visibility we can get. And really, that's the best way for someone to come and understand truly what good things we've got happening.
Excellent. Gentlemen, I feel like, frankly, we've only scratched the surface.
Absolutely.
We really have. Thanks to Steve and Jim and Wes for joining us and helping with today's educational process. To our viewers, until this next story unfolds, our mission continues, serving the Valley. I'm Roy Justice.
We connect here.
We connect here.
We connect here.